And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Wordplay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all. And we're live.
Yeah. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy Bass Play TJ.
Wow. And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason. Jesus, I am loud.
Louder.
You're weak.
Yeah. Am I? Am I? Also, your headphones might be a little low.
I'm talking about what your week is. Like,
Oh, my week. How was my week?
yeah.
Well, my birthday was this week, so
Nice.
that was-
Don't we have a sound for that?
it like, I don't know.
I'm focused, man.
Is that the sound?
No.
Okay, hold on. Wait, let's see. Is this one?
No.
Dang it.
It's
Hey. So yeah,
how was that?
It was an amazing day. Just did a lot of fun stuff, man. Went out to a movie, got to video games, because I'm still that guy. Ate some catfish. Then got some pizza, some za. How was your week?
I can always get some za.
Some za. Do you guys like za?
It was a busy week. Actually very busy. I spent a lot of time doing a lot of work stuff at the school and had doctor's appointments galore. Went to the dentist, got a filling, got some sealants on my teethuses, and then afterwards I went back for a follow up at my doctor, talking about some levels are a little low and those types of things, and they did a blood test, and that blood test came back the thought that they had.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem. So
Wait.
we're back to we don't know why.
Wait.
We don't know why those levels are low.
Wait. That's the thing about getting older, is going in and they just like, yeah, I think you should do this and increase this in your diet. Took your blood and was like, well,
Nothing's wrong.
look at that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like. And it's like, I don't know what to do about it. But I went to medical school for a lot of years. So It's like, you might be dying, but we don't know.
See, this is where I would always direct people to remembering. They say this a lot, and we always forget it because we think them to know everything. They be saying medical practice.
Right, for a reason.
For a reason.
Yeah, and that's like every other professional practice, right? Teaching is a practice as well. And we continue to do professional development by state requirements across the nation. So, yeah, every career really should be a practice. But speaking of careers, speaking of things that are not good to speak about on a podcast for the most part, we're about to get really serious.
Yeah.
Serious is the best way I can put that. So we have a recent passing in hip hop, the hip hop world, and that is Takeoff of the Migos was murdered in Houston. They speculate that it was during a dice game. There's ongoing reporting about that. I won't get into those details, but I think when we come to this conversation today, we're thinking about how violence is impacting hip hop and the conversation around that. So that's where we are.
But definitely rest in peace to Takeoff and all of those condolences and prayers to those affected. So,
we got some clarifying questions, right?
yeah, we because this is after a slew of things that have gone on. PNB Rock, and his murder, alongside so many over the past 5 years. You know, from XXX Tentacion. I literally can just keep listing people, Nipsey and so many that were taken from us far too soon.
Yeah. So what are these? Never mind. I'll do this. So the clarifying questions that we're kind of looking for in this conversation today is: does hip hop come with inherent violence? Should we, as artists, me and Joe, be in a different genre of hip hop artists because we don't do the street shit? Can you rap without living out your raps? And if violence leaves hip hop, would we still consume it and like it? So those are some of the questions that we want to kind of ask ourselves in this conversation. For those of you that are watching the video, you can get the long form of this by going to our audio, wordplaytj.com/NROR, or wherever podcasts can be listened to. And then for those of you watching the video, many of our points are going to be truncated. So please be aware that we're saying this full disclosure that we have more conversation to say.
So let's tackle the first question. Does hip hop come with inherent violence? And my answer to that is initially no. I think that once we started to stand on something, like towards the NWA, like push of things, that was like the start of kind of introducing our condition. So
meaning our condition. What's our condition?
Meaning what we were living in. You know, the systematic oppression and talking about police brutality specifically at that time, with F the Police. And, Ice-T and everybody else that came out during that time and what their raps were about. Do I think that it's inherently violent? No, I think we were telling the story of what our conditions were and putting that to the forefront.
I think I want to go back to the roots, not the group. But I said no jokes, but there they are. The roots of hip hop, no, not violent at all. When we, like to your point, when we started expressing our condition, it was like, oh, we live around violence and people should know about that, especially if this is going out to the mainstream. You can't think it's all a hip, a hop, a hip-a-did, a hip-a-did. You know what I mean? You can't just think it's just that.
That was literally the song that pops up in my head every time I think about the start of hip-hop. And I'm like, no, it's not inherently violent because we started just partying.
Right, exactly. We started having outlets that were positive. People had a place to go. People could listen to MCs. People could listen to the DJs, and that was the origins, right? It was all with positive intentions. No matter if some of those parties may have ended a certain way, or certain crews would beef with other crews at those parties. That's not exclusive to Black culture.
No,
beefing. We just call it gossip in other cultures. You know what I mean? So is it inherently violent? No, it's not inherently violent. There are some aspects of it where we are telling our stories in a realistic way. And that's where the violence starts to enter, is that we are recalling situations that we have gone through.
Do you think that the changing point was the Reagan era?
You mean crack?
Yeah.
No, because we were politically active before then. In what way would it be a changing point?
The content. So now we're experiencing, the crack era and the, drug wars and epidemics and everything else from that to, you getting closer to the 90s and Rodney King. But before we even get there, we get through the introduction of all of these drugs and things to our neighborhoods.
I think our desire to share our collective pain and trauma to the rest of the nation and get the rest of the nation to understand that beyond our trauma, we are still human. That was the message placed during the crack epidemic and then forward from there, right? Because we still fight a lot of systemic injustices. And to this day, Kendrick, Cole, a bunch of other people, the football players out there, they all talk about our condition.
The biggest portion, I'm trying not to be slow on this or overly thought provoking, but I want to be careful with my words, because the reason we wanted to do this was because I'm just exasperated and exhausted by an art form that just seems to have a dangerousness to it that it shouldn't.
Yeah, so the dangerousness seems to follow you even when professionally you're not in that world anymore. And there are some individuals that kind of keep one toe in, one toe out. Yeah, we heard it. And
every time.
One toe in, one toe out. And they continue to, kind of live the life while making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. And I think that's where the danger comes from.
Right.
Where you go back home, and Jeezy has said this in a recent interview.
I was just about to bring that up.
You go back home, and people expect for you to pay it forward, and people expect for you to live the same life that you lived before you blew up or got popular, and you can't really live that life anymore.
He famously talks about how T.I. came to the studio with him one time. He pulled up and he says he pulled him to the bathroom. Was like, you can't do both, right? And he was like, what you mean? He was like, you can't do what you're doing and do this rap. And it was like, you really talented. You should just focus on the rap. And he took that advice to heart. I don't know when it became this duality that had to be.
Yeah, I think that comes with. All right, so I think that comes with beef, and a major crutch point when hip hop artists beef is being real. The more real you are, in some cases, the more close to what you actually speak about you are, the more likely you are to keep your fans. But that's a part of Black culture as well. And it's not part of Black culture in a negative way. It's more so we know when people walk in the room and they're faking the funk.
Yeah.
And we don't like when people come in the room and fake the funk just to be liked and to be observed. And so therefore, beef and the realness you have to display when being in the middle of beef has led to people wanting to continue to be as real as they are in their raps. And my thing is, why can't raps be past tense?
But even if they are, people still are like,
You still live it?
how can I check your resume? You know what I'm saying?
Of course, right?
Like, people still are talking about those 92 bricks.
That's what I was about to say. Where, Jay-Z, where are those 92 bricks, sir? It's like, well,
You know.
I sold them.
But
Focus, man.
I'm focused, man.
but speaking of beef, did the 90s change the dynamic of what beef was? Because I'm sure that people were out moving in the streets a certain way. But did the East Coast, West Coast, Pac, Biggie, like, change it into something else? Or were we already in that mode of seeking the ops and going after, you know, like, if somebody don't like me, you know, it's belly. You know, I don't like that. Drop a dime on that.
It became territorial. And I talked to my students about the need to get the get back is strong within our society in general.
Okay.
And that's the need for men or women to get the get back on each other. The pool for revenge is always stronger than our will to just let things go. And I am constantly teaching young students how to let that go.
Okay.
And how to have conversations that aren't, because they think they're living in a world where you can't snitch.
Okay.
But snitching is for gangsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people that are committing crimes together, that's what snitching is for. And that's what I explained to them.
Like you, sir, who is not committing crimes, can help somebody.
Right, exactly. Or not even be in the middle of something that didn't involve you directly in the first place, right? So the get back has or the revenge has a viral effect.
Yes.
Right. So first, those people that are truly victimized will want to tell like 5 people, and those 5 people will want revenge on their behalf, and they'll tell 5 people. And so it's exponentially growing across a realm of folks. And then that revenge versus trying to mediate the situation and nip it at the bud at the source of the perpetrator turns into turning the perpetrator into a victim, because now it's a mob against the perpetrator.
Right.
So like to the point to where you have to actually protect people that have done things that are wrong.
I've had a conversation the other day. It was dealing with some family members. Somebody had gotten into a fight, right? At their school. And the advice from the other family members, as I protect the innocent, like this is Law and Order or something, was
I'll insert that sound. I have it.
Was you know, basically, if they hit you, hit back, kind of thing, right? Which I sat there for a second, you know, as a, you know, future parent, not currently or in the process. I was thinking about, what does that say?
Right. And that reaches across cultural lines, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what your culture is. There are many parents that say, I hear it all the time. My mom says, if I get hit, I need to hit back. And so that's perpetuated.
Yeah.
Specifically, it seems like in American culture, that there's always a piece of revenge tied to it. So continue. Like, where did that lead you to thinking you were going to do with your kids?
I started to ask, like, what are we doing? Because then I was having a conversation with an adult about a situation that they had encountered. And I was like, they basically were saying they had gotten into a slight altercation with somebody, but they didn't do anything at the time. And they felt that they didn't stand up for themselves. in that moment. And I was like, okay, but at the root of that,
Did they actually have to do something to like protect their life? You know what I mean? Because that's different.
well, not so much protect their life. I think it was like a small disagreement that like had escalated from something that was not noticed. But
Okay.
the overarching point I was making at that point, or overarching point I was making to them was, what are you feeling about that now? Like, why is that such a strong thing? Like, what about that, made you feel away? And it was like, well, I didn't feel like I was protecting my boundaries. And there was like a deep psychological thing that I don't think we often address, which is like, how do we deal with opposition? How do we deal with someone not liking us? In high school, I dealt with the same stuff.
How do we deal with forgiveness?
Yes. Well, not even so much even forgiveness, but that is a part of it. But your internal thoughts in situations that you didn't quote unquote look the best. Like,
Say that in a different way. Example.
How do you forgive yourself in a situation? So like when we're telling these kids that they don't have to ride on their ops, right? That somebody you got into a fight, you lost.
Okay. So you don't look away socially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, how do you like rebuild a confidence or understand that like sometimes you fail in life? Like, it doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're not important or that you have somehow not. How do you then stand for yourself in a certain way? Like, how do we build that up within people so they can know that they can stand for themselves without it having to go to 100, a million?
Yeah. So that brings another question into my mind is, how do we take an entire lifetime, which is, let's say, thousands of little moments. We have 1% of those moments, or even less than 1% of those moments, right? So 0.1% of those moments that are negative. How do we let those go? Because those seem to have the strongest impacts on us, even if they weren't like dangerously violent to us, right? So if you get attacked by someone maliciously, right, that should have a lasting impact on you.
Yeah.
But if somebody calls you a name or you have a disagreement for 5 minutes, you shouldn't have to carry that for the rest of your life. And I think the carrying that is what creates the violence in hip hop and what perpetuates it in hip hop. So with that being said, I think we should move on to our second question. Should you and I be in a different genre of hip hop? Or, I mean, we might be already in a different genre of hip hop categorically. But should we boost up the marketing and the name and the branding of that genre of hip hop and supplant it with what hip hop is called right now?
To me, that is such a catch-22. Because on one end, it creates a place for people that are similar to us, like us, whatever the case may be. On the other hand, it then creates the Kanye backpack rapper stigma.
Yeah, but that goes to my point is I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with living in this alternative hip hop world. And that's the official terminology that I get called. I think I'm okay with living in the alternative hip hop world.
The bizarro hip hop world.
Where Kanye West, Kid Cudi, and a few other folks are the pioneers.
I can see that. I think, I agree in a certain way. I think inherently what I was feeling goes with like the next question that we're going to talk about. But
when hip hop hit the suburbs, you know what I mean? Like I'm okay with living that way. I'm okay with being in that space.
That more so speaks to how you and I grew up. We've always said that hip hop for us is such a difficult thing Because of course, both of us went through the phase of trying to be what we saw rap as. And then grew to like, that does not fit me, that does not house me. I'm not that. I'm not Pablo, I'm not any of these people.
Because I don't need to be.
Right.
Yeah. So it doesn't change for you? Is that what you're saying?
Not really. I think I'm still in that mental place of you need to know that I'm still not to be played with. Like, it don't mean that. Don't try me.
What if they put you there?
In a place
like I got put.
Me?
You know what I mean? Like, my music has been streamed in a certain way with a certain group that now the algorithms just put me there.
Listen, speaking of algorithms, I was really happy the other day. I was playing on Pandora, my station. First song that came on was my song. You know who came on next?
Lupe.
You.
Oh, man.
And it's the first time that has ever happened, and I was super excited. You know who came on after that?
Jaco.
Toby.
Oh.
And I went, oh yeah, mama, I made it.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, because we talked about that in terms of like what genre I want to be in. Like, I'm still, I feel hip hop, but I'm all about.
But that is a little bit based off of your specific
taste and stuff. I don't know. I saw that too, and I was like, it still doesn't matter to me. But to be in that positivity, like, I know that I go through things, but I don't want you to feel like that's the end of the road in any song. Like, I don't want to end a song wallowing in anything because there's so much of that to where it's like you sit in it. Like, I know I talked about this when we were listening to the Double XL Freshman. There are so many of them that make these songs about, I can't trust nobody, everybody, I don't like these folks around me. And it's just like, okay, first of all, why do you still have those people around you? Second of all, are you not at a better place of trying to protect yourself? Or are you speaking to a weak-willed disposition that continuously puts you in places of people pleasing and you're trapped? And why do you keep presenting yourself as trapped, given that you have the tools and current capabilities to remove yourself from that trap?
This is a deeper thought. Do we have the tools to remove ourselves from the trap? Right? Because I think the reason why violence in hip hop is continued and we want to tie ourselves to revenge in America in general is because we psychologically don't have the tools to talk ourselves out of that, or even spiritually and psychologically don't have the tools to talk ourselves out of that.
So let's transition to the third question, because this basically dives into this, because we're kind of like going around it without going into it.
Let's do it.
Which is, can you rap without living your raps? And to me, that there's again another catch-22 is like yes and no. So like with me,
but if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
I'm gonna live mine, but that's because my content is different,
right?
And I want to live positivity.
But
like,
which one would you recommend?
I would always recommend knowing that this is an art form. If you are going to present your life, present it in an accurate way.
Past tense?
Present it past tense. Present it in a way that you're trying to grow and build yourself out of it. Or present it as what it is. So if I
what do you do in real life then?
In real life, you mirror your testimony. So like on Gray Matter in general, as you know with all the songs, I'm working through grief. That's the whole thing.
Your upcoming album.
I'm working through grief. On any song, I don't end on I'm just lost and hurt. I end on this is my step. This is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. Or I'm just, honest about what's going on around me kind of thing.
So what does that mean for artist, say let's just
Yeah.
pick a artist. Let's
Okay.
say Lil Baby.
Okay.
What does Lil Baby need to do so he doesn't get caught up in the way he talks? What does 21 need to do so he doesn't get caught up in the way he talks? Because not because 21 actually lives that life, but we know he doesn't.
Yeah.
But because 21 doesn't need to be like Takeoff and PNB Rock.
21 is intelligent in the sense that he's talked about it a lot and how he moves outside of the music. So it's one of those like you know you're not quote unquote all the way living your raps because you know what their energy is.
And I'm sorry, he knows what that energy is. Can I also say that on that album, I felt it was disrespectful to invoke PNB's situation twice on that record?
I feel the same. And I thought I heard it wrong. And I thought at first I thought, because you're talking about like the Drake line on whatever the song was, but
Yeah, but then he did it again.
I didn't hear it the second time. But the first time I thought he said P and D, and I thought he was talking about Party Next Door.
Maybe.
Because I was listening, because I felt the exact same way you felt, and then I had to go back and listen to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I missed the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, which is another thing in hip
Side
hop
note.
that is so weird to me. Because it's like, what are we doing right now?
Oh, wait a minute. Go back to your point. Don't lose that.
I did. I'm old.
Did you say easy? Is that what it was?
Oh, I was talking about 21.
21.
So
He can.
21 he speaks about the fact that he does not, he's smart about his things. He's had conversations with Jay-Z about his masters. He is very business minded in terms of how he moves. And the thing is that's so weird to me that like it's an attachment thing of why are we not having more J verses? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we not taking the business of the streets to just business? Like, in terms of elevating yourself, like, or getting to a different platform, making those around you successful. And a lot of times it's those people not wanting to be successful. But I don't know, man. It's so hard. Like, it just seems like it's the most difficult thing in the world for rappers to rap about where they are without doing the magnum opus or their outing about telling where they were in a way that then people are like, well, I want you to stay where you were because I need you to be hungry.
I want you to come help me.
Yeah.
That's what that's where I feel like they are. Mm-hmm. From an outside perspective, it's I want you to take what you just won. So you won the lottery. Mm-hmm. Come help me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that fortunate.
Okay.
And that's where I think some of the revenge starts to brew.
Yeah.
Is envy. So it's revenge begets envy begets the revenge, and then there's anger and all of these and resentment and all of these things, and that starts to show up. And then when people are so public, right, they are going to actually be in a specific location for a show. Mm. That's when the revenge gets real.
The other part of this is a conversation you and I have had before about competition, which is why inherently do we not understand that there's friendly competition or understand that you're not really competing with somebody because this market is way bigger than what they present to you, as per all of these TikTok artists now, as per before this, the MySpace, the SoundCloud, these eras of rap, the mixtape era. Like, there are so many people who got hot off mixtapes that didn't use a label or anything.
Yeah.
That were able to just do these different things. Like the competition that you seek, like at the top, though, like Drake Cole and Kendrick are not really in a competition.
Yeah.
Not in the way that people try to make it out to be.
If I wasn't such a like underground artist, I would think that Drake was speaking to me. He made an at the top line. I don't know if you heard it on that album, but
I'd have to go back because it was just a passing listen. But
when I think can you rap without living out your raps, I don't think that the consumer base will allow that.
Really,
I think we're mature enough to handle music that doesn't, but we also are always drawn towards the sauce. You know what I mean? It's like moss to a light, and our light is the shit. You know what I mean? We just kind of want to be in the garbage so much and wallow in the gossip. And he did this, she did this, they said this. Like, we live and feed off of controversy so much so that it sells records.
the craziest thing about this situation to me was I don't feel like, whether it was the Migos when they was, feeling away about Joe Budden and everything else when all of that stuff was going on, I don't feel like they ever need to prove something to somebody. Like, them guys changed the game.
You don't think?
No, I don't.
I think they need to prove something to the general audience. I don't think their fans are the ones that care about gossip.
No, I feel like for them, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, the proof is in these clones.
But the fans don't. So you're talking about Slaughterhouse, right?
No, I was talking about Migos when they. I got left off Bad and Bougie. That thing where they had that altercation with him. I was saying in that moment, I was thinking about them and like trying to prove something. Like with them, I feel like a lot of this at this point as a Slaughterhouse stan, I just feel like that's pub. I feel like y'all
Migos are trying to prove something.
I was saying what I more so mean is in that moment, it was like, you talking crazy to me, dog. We got to go there. And what I'm saying is, you're a pioneer, and you do not need to stoop to the level of somebody being petty or somebody being low, like low hanging fruit. In every situation, whether it's the music or whatever, we feel like we gotta, like you were saying earlier, you gotta go with the revenge, the response, the quick reaction. When it's like, you can see.
I'm lost. So you're saying they're creating violence in that situation, or even Joe perpetuated violence in that situation. Okay, because they both can't let it go.
Let me make it more plain. What I'm saying is, and the reason I brought up that situation with them, a lot of rappers, in terms of living their life in this competition mindset, right? Mm-hmm. You can have artists that say they don't like your music or do whatever. And a lot of what was going on with that situation was in behind Yachty or whatever it was. And Joe just being Joe. But when they came there, why do we meet these situations with that type of energy?
And I think the answer to that question is the consumers won't let you not meet it with that type of energy. You'll sell less records.
Okay. On that note, if Drake and Pusha T came out with a song tomorrow, what do you think it would do?
Drake and Pusha T?
Yeah.
It'll sell more records.
So they don't have to meet with that same energy. Or don't have to meet with,
it's because of the energy that it would sell more records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a magnet. So it started off with drama. Same way, the positive version of this is 50 Cent and Kanye.
That's what I'm saying.
But the positive version of that is not the rule. You know what I mean?
True.
It's an outlier. The norm is for there to be some real shit going on and people to take it too far. And when the real shit comes about, then individuals get into this place to where that real shit sells more records. And even if they squash the real shit, it still sells more records. Right. Kanye and Drake is the
prime example.
The prime example for sure.
I think to just simplify my point even further, just so it's not like some big convoluted thing, you do not have to always prove something to fickle people who it really don't matter to.
That's where I'm concerned. Because yes, you can go out and get your 1,000 fans, but if you care about Billboard, you care about these record labels, you live in that realm, you definitely have to cater to them a little bit.
Is in that energy is catering, you feel?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Hands down. They're definitely individuals who live out that life because society is not, like, we're taught that from young ages. If we don't fit in, we can't survive. It's like tied to our survival that if we don't fit in, that's why like individuals like us are called squares and lames and all of this other derogatory bullshit. Like if we don't fit in, we don't survive. And you can see it. And this is why I thought you were talking about Slaughterhouse. Is like Slaughterhouse doesn't have a majority lock on the hip hop market.
No,
they had a niche mark on the hip hop market, and yes, artists can, to your point, live in those niches and survive. But nobody wants to live in a niche. Most people don't want to live in a niche, and that's another societal norm that's pressured on us. Most people want all of it. They want the highest they can go. They want the tippy top. They want to be like the Drakes. They want to be like the Kendricks. They want to be like the J. Coles, monetary wise.
Right.
And so in order to get there, you got to perpetuate what's societally normal or societally accepted. And that's where we are digging ourselves in a hole, is that we constantly beg for acceptance from the audience.
Okay, so then that begs and kind of answers the question of, if the violence leaves hip hop, will we still like it? And I feel like you're saying no.
I am definitely saying no. I am definitely saying no, because even though you can make a living in your box, whatever that box may be, you'll never break out of that box and be the big thing. The biggest example I've seen of that is Chance, but you see where Chance is now. Not to say that Chance is, not successful still. It's just he's successful in a very different way right now. Yeah,
and what's funny is, speaking about Jeezy, because this brings this all around in a circle.
It's Will Smith.
Ooh, yeah. But his thing was he just left to go do movies.
Yeah, but he still did it.
Do you think that
he still put out a lot of albums?
True, but do you think, because he's popped out for a couple things that I thought was nice.
And then Eminem
Lucas thing was nice.
Dissed him about that. I don't have to be this to sell records.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
I guess the answer for me, I think that it would be very difficult. And the reason I was bringing up Jeezy is because with all of this, like, with Snowfall dropping, I went back. He had a B-Sides concert that was on YouTube. When I say I was in my living room rapping like I was in a club with a black flag or just as ganged up as possible, like remembering what that energy was to ride around bumping Trap or Die, like in everything Jeezy when a song came out, like it, I don't want to agree with you. I don't.
Good. It's good content.
But I feel like I have to, just because, dog, that album, man, was something else. And it changed my energy. It changed the way I looked at rap. I love those albums. I love riding around listening to Underground King, Bun B.
There's a lot of background noise.
Like,
sorry, I'm distracted. But yeah, that, like, we still like that energy as consumers, and I think that's the point you're getting to, right?
Yeah, like I'm not that, but I love that energy, and I still take that energy to somebody. Like if I gotta bottle up something to like kind of let somebody know you probably should just leave me alone, that's the type of music I'm playing.
Yeah, but where I feel is, let's just say, and this is the final point that I'll make on this.
Okay.
And the reason why I don't feel like we can let go of the violence, and the reason why, sadly, we're still going to see this live out for the existence of hip hop until we actually claim that other types of hip hop can exist on a mainstream level. If this podcast were about, let's say, dating and relationships, crypto, finance, some other gossip.
Yeah. If
type
we were the
shit.
Shade Room.
Yeah, if we were the Shade Room or TMZ, we would have an easier time selling this podcast to the masses. Quite honestly. I think it's our angle of positivity, our angle of humor, which helps us break out to individuals, but also leaves us in a space where it's going to be a long time before we get to where we want to be with this show. And I have to be okay with that because I have my personal morals that I stand on.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't see the violence leaving hip hop until we claim that hip hop is something different in the mainstream, or we say, oh, well, alternative hip hop can be in the mainstream or such and such.
And I think we just got to keep pushing. I mean, it's still by all accounts, it's still a young genre. It's still a young, thing.
Yes.
And it's growing because there are a lot more of us than there have ever been. The rappers that...
And we're splintered off, right? We're splintered off in our respective corners, right? The rappers.
And I think, because I was about to talk about our generation and how their content has changed to more build yourself up and how the younger artists aren't there. But the thing is, the younger artists will get there to where, like, I don't
you
go
see
out.
That thing?
Yeah.
That thing, that's what I talked about a few weeks ago, right? Is eventually we just kind of grow up, start going to church, and like we're done with that.
Right. Like, or like Gucci Mane, like, I guarantee y'all, if you're a young person and you only know Gucci that just got out of jail.
You only know Swole Gucci.
Or you don't know, you know In Shape Gucci.
Yeah.
Then you don't know
Swole Gucci.
What Gucci came from. Or if you only know...
If you haven't heard Lemonade.
Man, look, that was a time. I rapped off that beat so much. But like, I think that's what I'm looking forward to, or understanding more as I get older. It's like, I can talk about their music all the time, but hopefully...
The sad part is that it shouldn't come with age.
It shouldn't. No, it shouldn't. you should kind of understand that on the front end, but we got to continue being beacons and being the safe haven to let people know you can be that, and we'll support it because we do. Like, a niche only starts out as a niche until it grows further, and the people that are within the niche have to stop being gatekeepers and allow it to spread, because that's literally the only other
I'm
problem.
not telling anybody about this because this is my secret.
Yeah.
We can't do that. So.
But if we do that, I think that will help a lot. This was a very, very sad time in hip hop. I cannot stress that enough, because we should not be losing somebody at 28 who has changed the way hip hop is done. The fact that people, whether still the ad libs, the flow patterns, everything from this man, because of how iconic he was and still is. So I don't know. My heart just hurts, and like I'm glad that we were able to do a much better conversation, because how I was feeling. I was on real dark times. So keep those folks in your prayers, your thoughts. Support positive music. Support this podcast, and until the next one, a 1 and a 2 and peace.